Hey everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. So the FCC has opened up a application process for $200 million that's going to go to funding for school libraries for cybersecurity. Be right back with more. Thanks for joining. Rick Husey here with Broadband Deployment News. So again, $200 million the FCC is offering. This is a pilot program, so they want to see how this works out and where they can use funding from the Universal Service funds to be able to help schools with their cybersecurity needs. So the application window is now open, and I wanted to talk about that. I also wanted to mention that if you are a school or you're working with a school, maybe you're an internet service provider working with a school, and you want assistance with this, especially not so much the grants or getting that, putting in that application, although we can certainly try to help you there. But if you do win this money, we can help you with fully managed cybersecurity services. So I just want to bring that out up front as you're looking at this and realizing, wow, we don't know a whole lot about this. Keep us in mind. You can go to our website, and if you go under products, just first selection right there is cybersecurity, or you can go to zquorum.com/cybersecurity and you'll see more about that. So again, I want to bring that up right up front, but here's what we have here is you see the FCC open cybersecurity pilot program application window, and I linked to this in the description. So you can download a document there, which will bring you to this. It's just a one pager, but I just wanted to briefly show you this, the window time frame here, but also go to the page that talks about this more. So see here, FCC opens cybersecurity pilot program application window, $200 million, as I mentioned, will help pay for the costs of eligible cybersecurity services and equipment for schools and libraries. During the 45-day application window, which will run from September 17th, 2024 to November 1st, eligible schools and libraries can apply to participate in the 3-year, $200 million pilot program. Participants selected for the pilot program will receive support to defray the costs of eligible cybersecurity services and equipment, while providing the Commission with data to better understand whether and how Universal Service funds could be used to improve school and library defenses against increasing cyber attacks. And cyber attacks are increasing. I mean, they're hitting businesses of all kinds. They're hitting schools. And these could be from, just internal threats, external threats, state actors. There's just a number of people out there that are doing these things. So something to keep in mind for your own company, as well as, again, this is an opportunity for schools to have access to these funds to help, again, defray the costs of getting these important services in place. So, and in here, when you, let's see, this is that. Oh, I'm sorry. And here is the program. So I linked to this as well. So this is the page on the program. So schools and libraries, cybersecurity pilot program. Again, $200 million to selected participants over a 3-year period. Who's eligible? Schools, libraries, and a consortia of schools and libraries, for example, regional or statewide groups of schools or libraries that jointly apply for the pilot program. So that can help take off some of the pressure of one school doing it. You can get together with others, and you would have to meet the E-rate program's eligibility requirements. There's a link there. What services and equipment are eligible for reimbursement? And there's a link to a complete list. Mentions, a variety of services, such as advanced next-gen firewalls, endpoint protection, identity protection, authentication, and monitoring detection and response. But again, there's a full list here, and I was looking through the list, and it pretty much covers everything. And actually, we can help with. I was looking through the list, and I'm not sure there's anything in here that we can't help with. There might be one or two things, but as I look through this, everything that I see is something that we can help with. Again, starting with, obviously detecting issues and then mitigating those, DDoS attacks, malware detection, patch management, and you've got endpoint detection, like endpoint detection and response, all of that managed, antivirus, anti-spam, web application hacking, identity protection, authentication. So you've got some things there that all of these things that, phishing is a big one, because you get people that will send phishing emails or something along those lines, and you have somebody, an employee or somebody who works for the school, library clicks on something, and suddenly you get somebody access to the system. So these are all things that need to be looked at. Monitoring, detection, and response. It's a big, long list of things that are covered here. So this would be excellent for any school or library that gets these funds to be able to really take a good look at their security and put in a lot of protections in place for that. What is the process for applying to participate? In part one of the application, applicants will be required to provide general information about the schools and libraries seeking support, including the applicant's experience with cybersecurity matters, whether they expect to implement cybersecurity recommended best practices, and their current or expected use of free or low-cost federal resources. That would be like, I think, CISA and what's the other one? There's another federal program that helps with these kinds of things. So that would be good to study up on before you put in your application. Then also it mentions cybersecurity recommended best practices. So it would be good to get up to speed with the NIST cybersecurity framework. And again, that's areas where we can help. So, feel free to reach out and contact us. The NIST cybersecurity framework seems to be right now the standard that the federal government is looking at. If they're either looking at that or they're saying or they're adopting things that are very similar to that. So the NIST framework, I should go ahead. When I'm done here, I'll link to the NIST cybersecurity framework as well. I don't have that currently in the description of the video, but I will do that. I'll put it in the cybersecurity framework. That's something that basically is a way that tells you what you need to be getting done in order to do good cybersecurity. So that would be the best practices that they're talking about there. Applicants will also be required to provide information about the proposed pilot project, including a description of the goals and objectives to be achieved, the services and equipment to be purchased, and associated costs, and the cybersecurity risks and proposed pilot project, and the cybersecurity risks the proposed pilot project will prevent or address. If selected to participate in the pilot program, participants will be required to provide more detailed information about their cybersecurity experiences. For example, in Part 2 of the application, participants will be required to provide information regarding their current cybersecurity posture, including how the school or library is currently managing and addressing cybersecurity risks through prevention and mitigation tactics, history of cyber threats and attacks within a year of the date of the application, current cybersecurity training policies and procedures, and cybersecurity challenges faced. So again, some of these things could be done beforehand. I don't know which is better. Is it better to say, if you're a school or library, to say, we have no idea what we're doing, and here's why we need help. Or say, we're doing the best with what we have. That might be the better way to go. We're doing the best with what we have, but we need funding so that we can really step up our game. And an example here, what does it say? Training policies and procedures. So that's the kind of thing where, a school or library might not have that in place, but it's the kind of thing that you can try to put in place at this time, or at least, this is Part 2 of the application, so you've got time to do this, is to get those kinds of things in place that are not going to be that costly. You could, you could talk to us, and maybe we could, for a small, reasonable fee, help you with getting procedures in place and the kinds of things you need to be doing there. That wouldn't be protecting, that's more people stuff, right? And it's policies and procedures, those kinds of things, and making sure that you have good password protections in place, that people are trained on how to not respond to phishing emails, those kinds of things. Those are things that are really kind of critical, kind of ground level kinds of things that need to be done to help protect your network, because that's a lot of times where those vectors come in, or at people. But then again, you've got the technology that needs to be in there as well. You've got other pieces that really have to be in place if you're going to have full protection, a full spectrum protection. For example, 24/7 monitoring, which no school or library can do that. You're not going to have enough people to be able to monitor, even if you have the equipment in there and the software looking for unusual situations, flagging things that need to be looked at. You need to be looking at that stuff 24/7. So that's where somebody like us can help. But again, a lot of these things you could probably get in place to demonstrate that we've taken this seriously, and we just need some additional assistance to be able to get all of the technology and the staffing and/or hiring someone to help us do these things to get the network completely protected. So that's something that I would recommend, is looking at some of these things beforehand, not necessarily before you apply for the funds, but certainly between the time that you apply and having to fill out this second section on some of the things that you're doing now. So doing everything that you can now would be the best thing to do there, I believe. So how will pilot program participants be selected? To facilitate the inclusion of a diverse set of pilot projects and to target pilot funds to the populations most in need of cybersecurity support, the FCC will award support to a combination of large and small and urban and rural schools, libraries, and consortia with an emphasis on funding proposed pilot projects that include low-income and tribal applicants. So they're trying to make sure everybody's included here. What can schools or libraries expect after applying? Applicants selected to participate in the pilot program will be announced by public notice. The public notice will provide additional information regarding next steps, including the process for soliciting bids and procuring desired cybersecurity services and equipment. After participants complete a competitive bidding process, they will submit requests for services, and upon approval, they will receive a funding commitment decision letter, approving or denying their funding request. So at least you'll find out one way or the other. Once an FCDL or that decision letter is sent or issued and the delivery services has started, participants and service providers may submit requests for reimbursement from the pilot program. Then it talks here about just kind of your boilerplate on what Commission is doing to protect against waste and fraud and whatnot. Some FCC references here. Some prior announcements, the one that we just looked at here, and some prior announcements there. So again, this is a great opportunity if you are a school or library to be looking into this, or again, maybe you're an internet service provider and this could be something that you could help with the local schools, the local schools and libraries participate in this. We can help you if you're an ISP. If you want, you could contract with us to help you help the schools, those kinds of things. So keep that in mind. Again, very good opportunity here for schools and libraries to make sure that cybersecurity is up to par, and it should be at every business should have good cybersecurity in place. That especially goes for internet service providers, broadband providers, because you guys are critical infrastructure providers. And obviously schools and libraries are important, for education of our kids. That's an obvious thing as well. So hospitals, all kinds of large businesses, very important, especially those that are providing critical services or infrastructure. Appreciate you joining me today. Thank you. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button, ring the bell, and you'll be notified when I'm live. If you like this video, if you give me a like on that or thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And I will see you next time for Broadband Deployment News. Take care. Bye-bye.